Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So this is Laravel part 2 where I'm going to talk about Laravel Eloquent relationship, and the previous part I already showed about one-to-one relationship and one-to-many relationship, which was really fun and interesting. I hope you guys are going to understand that and learn this properly and then come to this video, because this video is going to be really fire. Okay, just imagine a scenario. Suppose I know you. Okay, I only know you, I don't know any of your friend, and you know your girlfriend or your friend, but I don't know them. But this logic says if I know you, I'm gonna know them as well. I'm gonna know about your friends, about your girlfriends, and about your family, suppose, because of you, through you. I'm not gonna know them directly, I'm gonna know them through you. So it has through relationship. It can be two types, has one through and has many through relationship. In this video, I'm gonna talk about a simple logic where one country has many cities and many cities has lot of villages in each of the cities. So how can we connect the country to villages? How can we count and get all the information of the villages through cities for the countries? Because it is associate relationship. I know you and you know your friends. Now I can know all the information about your friends as well. So it has through many relationship. So in this video, you're going to learn it really properly, and I'm going to show you full implementation of it. So let's go and let's get started with the full code. So in this particular video, I'm going to talk about has one through relationship. If you didn't watch the previous part, I'm going to talk about the one-to-one and one-to-many. You have to watch those things because those are really linked, and you're going to understand it very well and understand properly what I'm talking about. Now let's jump into has one through. Now what does that mean? Suppose I have a country here, country model, and we have a model called prime minister because country has one prime minister, so there should be one has one relationship. Now we have one more relation would be connected with the capital because one country has one capital and through prime minister. Suppose this is just a simple model like this. Has one through. Has means the country has a prime minister and prime minister is now connected with the capital. Now the capital is secretly now connected with the country automatically because the country would be connected to prime minister and prime minister would be connected to country. Now there's three-way connection. Now we can directly go from number 1, which is country, to the number 3 capital through the prime minister, because prime minister is a common that connects both capital and country. So we can directly go from has one through country to direct capital via the prime minister model. Country have a prime minister or has one prime minister, and prime minister is controlling one capital. Okay, and that's why we have has one through country has one capital. Now this is the connection we're gonna build. So and then we're gonna try something more complex, which is has many through relationship. So let's implement this one first. Okay, we need 3 model: country, prime minister, and capital. We are connecting country and capital in this model. So we need 3 models to create. So as you can see, the previous video, I already created a Laravel application called tutorial relation project. We also need to delete the migration files as well because this is super important. Let me delete everything and keep it fresh and do it from the beginning. And in the web.php, I have a lot of codes and I need to just comment it out. That would be really nice. Now we need to clear it out and make a model, which is php artisan make me a model, and this model should be country model. Okay, and -m to create a migration file. As you can see, we have a countries table now. It is working really nice. And if we go to model, as you can see, we have a country model that we're gonna connect very soon. And then we need to create one more table. And make sure you just install the XAMPP and run those MySQL and Apache server, which is very important. Otherwise, you cannot get into this field. Okay, so we have created a database as well in the previous video, which is tutorial relational project. And here I have a lot of tables for the previous video. I'm gonna delete every single thing. Okay, it is dropped properly. Now everything is clean, and we already created our countries model. Then we need to create another model, which is prime minister. Prime minister model -m to create a migration folder. As you can see, we have a prime minister model. Okay, because country has one prime minister. Okay, now we need to create another model that we're gonna connect because country have one prime minister and we're gonna connect the prime minister with our capital. So we need to create another model called capital -m, which is connecting with our prime minister. So there would be connection of prime minister with the capital and the prime minister with the country at first. Then we're going to create HasOne throw. From the country, we directly jump into the capital because country has one capital through prime minister. We got three capitals and countries. So as you can see, we have three models: country, prime minister, and the capital. And same as like this scenario, we are connecting. Okay, just clear it out. And what do we need to do? Just create our migration folders. So let's go to countries first and just change it to increments and give it a auto increment ID. Just relax and watch the video and practice yourself so that you can get the best out of it with the different scenario like that. And this is just a tutorial. You need to practice a lot. Suppose we have a country name. This is a country name, and you can copy this thing and suppose country population thing, which is country population. Okay, those two things would be more than enough. And let me copy those three things. It would be really easy. And we need to have prime minister. Suppose the first one is the increment auto increment ID. Minister table, let's give it prime minister. So prime minister, this is the prime minister is the only attribute I want. Okay, and simple prime minister, and we're gonna give it a name. Okay, and we're gonna just copy the same thing. You can copy this thing and you need to paste it in the capitals. Okay, so let me paste it in the capitals. So in the capitals table, I'm gonna keep it as capital name. Okay, capital name, which is really good. And you can give it any extra field, which is capital population. And okay, so capital population and capital name. Now one more thing, prime minister now belongs to a particular country, because now countries table is the main parent and we need to store the country ID in the prime minister table because it is belongs to the country. Okay, so here I can just write table, and here I'm gonna write unsigned integer, and this field should keep track of the country, which country this prime minister is belong to. Okay, I'm gonna write it country underscore ID. So we are connecting our prime minister table with this countries table. Okay, first at the beginning. In this scenario, as you can see, we are connecting these two first. And country ID. So this is connecting really well. Then we need to just go to table, and here we need to write foreign key is the country ID. Foreign key is the country ID, and here we're gonna write references on ID field and connect it on countries table. So it says we are going to the countries table and attaching that country's ID as the foreign key as country ID in the prime minister's model, so that we can keep track of which country ID this prime minister is belonging to. Very simple. And then we need to create one more scenario, which is for the capitals. Now capital will keep track of prime minister because capital doesn't know which country it belongs to in the beginning. Later we're going to connect, but not in the beginning. The beginning we need to connect our prime minister with our capital first. Okay, so prime minister and capital should be connected, and countries and prime minister as connected. Now we need to create second relation, which is prime minister and capital. So this is the complexity you need to understand to do work like that. Okay, and capitals need to keep track of prime minister, so we need to have some ID. Suppose let me copy the same thing, which is this one. I need to copy and paste it here. Okay, so capital name, capital population, and here you need to have one more field to keep track of it, which is unsigned integer, and unsigned integer should be capital, should be prime minister ID. Okay, so we need to have a prime minister ID. Okay, prime minister have an ID, which ID this capital would be connected to. Okay, and this capital would be belonging to the foreign ID would be the same as this one in the capitals table, because we are connecting capitals with the prime minister's table. That's why we need to foreign key of that, and the foreign key we're connecting with is the this table, prime minister's table. Okay, so ID of prime minister's table. Very simple. We are going to the prime minister table and keep track of its ID, and based on that ID we are getting all the capitals, name and population. So if we have the option to get the information of the prime minister, we can easily connect and get all the information of this capital, because they are now connected in the foreign key. As you can see, we're keeping track of it, and prime minister is connected to the particular country ID, so that we can keep track of which country this prime minister is belonging to, which is really nice. Now we need to just migrate it, and for that we need to write PHP artisan, and let's see if it is working or not. Okay, I hope everything is working properly. Yeah, it is working really nice. And looking at all the properties, in the countries table we have on the name and population. In the prime minister we have the prime minister's name, and we have the timestamp, and we have the country ID as a foreign and normal ID. In the capitals table we have a capital name and capital population, and which prime minister is leading this, and this is really well connecting properly. Now we need to write PHP artisan server. We can do that, but to start our server, now the main thing is to connect everything. Okay, first let me go to the country, which is the root. Okay, you can write public function prime minister. Okay, so we are connecting our countries table with the prime minister table there, and we can write return this has one relation with the country, has one relation with the prime minister model dot class, which is really simple. Now we can get the attribute of prime minister and get all the prime minister information with the country. Really simple. And then we need to go to the capital as well, and capital is connected with the prime minister, so prime minister as well, and prime minister is belonging to, suppose, public function, and it is belonging to particular country. Okay, he is belong to particular country, and return this belongs to. Okay, so the prime minister is actually, prime minister means this prime minister main class is belongs to particular country. So let me connect them first. So they are connected. So they are connected by normal one and the reverse one, which is HasOne and belongs to, which was the previous part content, the previous tutorial content. Now you're gonna see the real magic of here. From now we can understand the country to capital easily. So for that I need to just go to country, and here I need to write one more function, public function. Now country will get the capital information, capital, which is one more attribute. And now I'm going to create the main logic, which is HasOne through. Now this means this country has one capital. Okay, has one capital through the prime minister. Okay, so how can we write this country has one capital model through which one? Through prime minister model. You can use all the foreign field here like country ID, because country ID is connected with the prime minister to keep track of which country the prime minister belongs to. And we have another one, which is prime minister ID, which I'm not gonna write here, just keep it simple. So now the main logic is the country. This means that this country class has one connection with the capital. As you can see, the country has one connection with the capital, because the previous one we already connected country with the prime minister. Now we can easily connect the country with the capital very easily. Okay, because prime minister is also connected with the capital, so we need to keep track of this. The prime minister also keep track of the capital, so we need to build that connection, public function, and we need to write capital. Okay, so that we can connect it very simply. So we need to return the prime minister has one capital, leading one capital class. And very simple. This is gonna, and we need to go to capital as well here, and here we need to write public function, because capital belongs to prime minister. Okay, let me write properly. Okay, and return this belongs to this. This means this capital belongs to a prime minister. Okay, it's very simple, very easy. We can directly connect them. So this is the thing we want. Now we can get the same information. The main part, if we go to the country, we can directly connect now the capital, because the country is connected with the prime minister with HasOne relation, and prime minister is also connected to HasOne relation with the capital. So they are both connected. Prime minister is connected to the capital, country is connected with the prime minister. So the logic says we can go directly from the country to the capital using the HasOne through relation. So very simple. Now what we need to do, we just need to add some data into the database so that it works really fine. So first we need to go to countries, insert some data. Country name is Bangladesh, population suppose 160 million. Very simple. I just need one country here. I don't need much more complication. And as you can see, our country and country population is added. Then we need to add one more thing, which is prime minister's information. Let's go to insert. As you can see, we have identified the country as a foreign key, so it will be inside the country, which country this prime minister belongs to. And here I'm going to write Sheikh Hasina, our prime minister here, and this is the name of the prime minister property. Okay, save it. So one country having one prime minister, and now we can have to connect with the prime minister with the capital, because prime minister is now connecting with the capitals. So let's insert something. As you can see, the capital is now connected to the prime minister, which prime minister? Sheikh Hasina. She is controlling this capital, suppose here, and this is the connection. As you can see here, from first we need to connect this and this one, and second one is this one and this one. Then we can only connect these two. Okay, country and capital. And suppose capital name is Dhaka and population is suppose 45 million, suppose. And very simple. Now if we go to that, first we get to countries, Bangladesh, then we have the prime minister information, which is country ID, which is Bangladesh, belongs to our capital, and capital is under prime minister ID, which is prime minister number 1 is Sheikh Hasina, that we have approved the information, and prime minister is ID number 1 is the, if we go to that, if we go to prime minister and ID number 1 is Sheikh Hasina, as you can see the information. And then if we go to capitals, and in the capitals we have, as you can see, capital name Dhaka and city population. So we have connected the prime minister's table with the capital she is belonging to and the capital populations. Okay, so to prime minister to capital we have HasOne relation. Similarly, the reverse, all of this capital information is belongs to prime minister. As you can see, if we go to capital, okay, capital is belongs to prime minister. Okay, which is really simple. Now we can easily connect those two tables which we want, which is HasOne relation with country, HasOne relation to country with the prime minister. And it is a very piece of cake for you. I think you guys understand a lot how it is doing it, because you need to understand it very simply, otherwise you can never be a good developer. Web.php file, and here I can just copy this one, paste it. Suppose I want to know the capital information, and how can we get that? Let me remove all of those things. Just write capital is equals to country. We need to go to the country model and go to country model, and we need to find country and get the capital attribute. So how can we get the country here? We need to import that country. If we didn't import that, you need to import, suppose delete the previous one. As you can see, we have the country model included here, and for that we are accessing it, country, and find the capital property that we defined in the model. So if we go to the country, as you can see, we can easily access the capital here, and this is what we are doing here. We can access the capital information, and I'm going to return the capital. You can do it by creating a model and showing all the information in the view, in the template, which I'm going to recommend you strongly. So you need to just add a simple semicolon to work with it. So recap is capital, and we are getting all the capital information because we are connected with HasOne through relationship with the country. Now country has one relation through prime minister to the capital. Now we can easily access from directly the capital information from the country model. Do the magic here, which is PHP artisan serve. Let me go there and go to capital, and I think you need to just keep it simple and optimize it, otherwise it will never gonna work. I don't know why this happens, but this is like that. So we get the ID of the capital table, and if we go to the capital table, as you can see, we have a particular ID. It belongs to prime minister's ID, which is ID number 1. And as you can see, we get all the capital information like capital name, which is Dhaka, and capital population, which is 45 million, and created and updated. And as you can see, we have Laravel throw key number 1. Throw key number 1 is this throw key. We are getting this capital information only because we are connected to the prime minister's ID, as you can see. So if we go to the prime minister's table, as you can see, the prime minister's ID is 1. And this one is also connected with the country ID of 1. So if we go to the country ID of 1, very simple, as you can see, in Bangladesh. Okay, so we are connecting the country with the capital very simply. We get all the information, capital name, capital population, just and the prime minister ID, just by connecting HasOne through relationship with the country and the capital through that prime minister ID. This is a very interesting and amazing connection, how we can build it, amazing application with it, with multiple applications. So this is very simple. You can access capital name here, you can access capital name, capital population, of whatever you want, or you can use a for loop. Suppose for each loop you can use for each capitals as capital, you can just loop through this. Okay, capitals capital, you can loop through all of those things. Very simple and easy if you have multiple capitals. If you have, in the second example where I'm going to talk about this part, which is HasMany through relation, this is the part where the for each loop will gonna work. Because suppose we have only one country and we have multiple cities. Suppose here I'm going to use city 1 and city 2, suppose two cities, and each of the cities has 2 villages. Suppose village 1, 2 or 3. It can have multiple villages. One city might have 1000 villages. Okay, this is just for illustration. And city 2 have 2 villages, which is village number 3 and village number 4. Now how can we get the information of the villages directly? We want the villages directly. We need to know all the villages in a particular country. How can we do that? Using HasMany through relation, because the country, in this case, the country not only has one prime minister. This is not simple. Country has multiple villages, and all of those villages and countries are connected via the city table, which is the intermediate table that we are going to connect to. First we need to establish the city with the countries. Now country has many cities, country would have many cities, and cities would have many villages, and cities with many villages. Then we're going to connect the country with the villages with HasMany through relation. Now I think I need to delete all of those things except for the countries. Let me delete everything. And we just deleted everything we just did and just comment it out, because in the later part you might need it. So at this moment we need to create 3 model: country, city and village. PHP artisan make me a model called country, and -m is created, country created, models created, migration folder created, simple. And then we need to create a city. Country have many cities, which is HasMany relation. And then we need to create one more thing, which is suppose village -m. As you can see, first we created the country, then city and villages. Now country will have HasMany cities, which is one relation, and cities will have many villages, which is another relation. Then we're gonna connect from directly country to the village information. We can directly get that through the country. First let me go to the countries and give me some models, which is increments, and it will increment some ID. Let me create one more field, and this is string, and this should be country name. and country population should be something very simple. This is quite simple thing and easy stuff. Just copy this thing and go to cities and paste it here. Now we are in the cities table. Now we need to connect it with city underscore name and city population. Countries, because cities belongs to some countries, so which country this cities belongs to, okay, we need to keep track because it is has many relationship. Countries has many cities, so countries will keep track of so cities will keep track of countries. Here we need the countries tables ID as a primary key would be used in the foreign key in the cities table. Then we can connect cities with the countries. Very simple. In the previous videos also you learned about it. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna use unsigned integer, and this should be the foreign key or foreign key attribute, and this should keep track of the country ID, which country ID these cities will be belonging to. Then we need to connect the foreign table. Okay, let me connect with the table. Foreign key should be country ID, and we need to connect references on ID in the countries table. With countries tables ID, we want it as a country ID, as you can see in the country ID field of cities, to keep track of which country this city is belonging to. We're getting that particular ID as our foreign key in the cities table. Simple, just keep a semicolon. We connected the cities with the country with the foreign key, and we have this country name, population. Cities have two information, which is country ID to keep track, and city name and city population. Let me copy on the thing here in the villages table. We can paste it out, and here you need to just give the name of city ID. So make sure it is city ID, otherwise it will not work because villages would be belonging to city ID. So you need to keep track of which city these villages are belong to, because the cities have a lot of has many relationship with the villages. So this village or villages must be belonging to particular city ID. It should hold. Okay, so as you can see, particular, suppose village 1 and 2 is belonging to city 1, so we need to keep track of the city. Very important. And in case of city, we need to just go to village name and village population. Okay, and this should be, we should be connect with the cities table. Let me go to the cities table. As you can see, it is cities table. We are connecting its ID as a city ID in the villages table. Now we just keep track of the city ID in the villages table, and villages table have village name, population, and as a foreign key we used city ID. Okay, and now we need to migrate it. So before we migrate it, we need to just delete every single thing, all other previous work, database relationship, drop it and delete every single thing, and this one as well. So it is completely clean. The database is refresh. Now we can just migrate whatever we build here. This is the main core logic how you should do that. PHP artisan migrated. Okay, the migration is done. If we go there in the database, as you can see, we have cities that is connected with particular country, and if we go to villages, now villages is connected to particular city, because village is belonging to particular city. And then we need to go to our model file, because country has many cities, so we need to build that public function. So public function cities. Okay, you get all the cities information and return this means that which class this belongs to is country class. Okay, this country class has many relationship with the city and class. Okay, now this is done. We can copy the same thing and go to our city, and here you just paste it. Public function, in case of cities we just need to write villages, because cities has many villages. This has many villages. Okay, we need to connect with the village model. Simple. City has many villages and country has many cities, and city have many villages, so it is connected properly. As you can see from this, country has many cities, cities has many villages, so these are connected. Now we need to create an inverse relationship, which is if I go to city, city belongs to a reverse relation as well. In case if you don't know, public function, you need to watch all my tutorial properly, guys. So public functions, we need to get the country information in the city. So it should be country. The city is definitely belong to a particular country, and return. If you establish this connection, you can get all the country information if you have only the city model. So that's why it's just doing the reverse. And if you have the country, you can easily get the city information if you have seen here. If you have country, you can get all the city information. Here we are just gonna do the reverse. If you have a city, you can easily get the country information, because this city is belongs to a particular country. And the class, very simple. So this is the reverse relationship, and we need to do the same. Now villages is belonging to particular city. So here I'm just gonna change the name. Villages belongs to city. Okay, now what I did, villages, obviously village belongs to particular city. Okay, so it has no, it is the least amount of child, it is the lowest child which doesn't have many things. Suppose it is only belong to something, like village belong to city and cities belong to particular country. As you can see, very simple stuff. And what I'm gonna do now, we need to build the main thing, which is has many through relation. Here to write public function. Now the main thing, country is connected with city. As you can see, country has many cities, okay, and cities has many villages, and country has many cities, and cities has many villages. Now we are easily able to connect them. So let's go to countries and public function. Let me write has many through relationship. Now public function to villages, we can get the villages information directly from the country's model. And here I'm gonna write this has many. If you write just this has many, it is not gonna work. It should be this has many through, and it takes 2 parameters. Village model we need to use. This country has many villages, so that we use the village model, because we are connecting country with the village. Through which model? Through city model. Okay, very simple. Now we can easily get the information of the villages if we have only the model using this property, villages property, because we connected them. And just copy the same thing, you can paste it here. Okay, now just uncomment that. We need to get all the villages. Okay, if we go to, suppose just change the name villages, and it should be villages. You need to get the country. Suppose, as you can see, with the model, country is also imported, and we need to find country, find villages, country, and get. If you have the country model, you can easily get the query sets of all the villages. Just simple, has one through relation easily, and we get the villages information if we have only the country information. We don't need to go through the city like that. One more thing we need to do, guys, which is we need to import some values, which I already forgot. So let me do this. Suppose country name is Bangladesh, and its population is 160 million of country ID, because the city is now connected to the country, and the city name should be Dhaka, and city population is like 25 million people of country, this country ID of Bangladesh, because it is inside. All the cities are belonging to country. And second city is suppose Chittagong, and population suppose 30 million. Let's go. And this is the thing we want. We have two cities now, and two cities now will have 2 more villages. Dhaka will have 2 more villages, and Chittagong should have 2 more villages. Okay, suppose if we go to villages, and here you can see the villages is already keep tracking on which city this village would be belong to. Suppose Dhaka it is belong to, so it is village X. Okay, and its population suppose 2 million, and insert another one, and is also belong to Dhaka. All belong to Dhaka city. Okay, suppose it is 3 million people live here. Simple. If you find it boring, just skip this part, but I have to do this because this is just a tutorial so that everyone can understand it. And this is okay. Now if we go to the villages table, the city ID 1 means is Dhaka, and all village X and village Y is belonging to Dhaka city. Then we need to import some more information into the cities table and into the villages, because we have one more city which is Chittagong, and we need to import some, which is village, and the village name should be village P, and is 5 million people. Insert one more, insert the Chittagong, which is city ID of 2, and village name should be village Q, and suppose 6 million people stay there. So okay, and we have all the things. If we go to villages, as you can see, city ID of 1, we have X and Y villages inside the Dhaka city. We have 2 more villages inside the city ID of 2, which is city Chittagong. As you can see, we have P and Q. So we can get all the information if we go to country and get all the villages HasMany through relationship. As you can see, we get the village X, village Y, village P, and village Q, 4 of the villages, and all of them has some IDs. So village X has this ID, this ID, this ID, and its populations, as you can see, village populations, and all of them belong to, suppose village number X and village Y belongs to city number 1, and city number 2 has village P and Q, which same as this database. So these are the simple logics that we just built here. As you can see, we just connected through Laravel throw key. Okay, so if it has HasMany throw relation, this text would be appeared. Okay, this is very interesting idea, guys. How can you build this kind of relation? And this is very, very important and advanced concept in Laravel that you have to know if you want to become a very good developer. So that's all for it, guys. I hope this tutorial is a little bit big, but you can understand a lot about it. In the next part, I'm going to talk about many-to-many relationship, and this would be the ultimate and the last relationship that you're going to learn from this particular series. So thanks for watching. I'll be coming with a lot of amazing content in the future. Till then, take care, subscribe, and share as much as possible so that many people like you can get help and I get the most motivation. So till then, take care, bye bye. I'll catch up in the next video.